Hey class, now that we've done the Hello World exercise, we can launch into learning the basics of HTML that we need to do this particular assignment. Uh, a lot of it is the best way to learn a language, especially if it's a language that's covered by W3 schools, is just to go through the particular exercises that they have there. Um, you know, I haven't been working, for example, with Python for all that long, and what I did to learn Python was I went through the Python exercises. So I would encourage you to do the same thing with in W3 schools with JavaScript. So let's go to W3 schools, and I'll show you what you should learn. Here's the main page of W3 schools. If you go down to Learn JavaScript, and the stuff that you'll need to know for this first, the 12 days of Christmas assignment uh, is everything through here, from the home all the way down to data types. You can skip functions or stop at functions. So from JS home all the way there. And then also it's worthwhile probably also covering strings. But I'll cover the basics here in this video too. But if you need more information than what I provide here, then I really do encourage you to go through all the examples here in W3 schools. Another way to put this is that you've already, in your prior programming experience, learned how to declare variables and assign values to variables, write control structures like conditionals, like if else loops and switch statements and while loops and for loops, and write comments and maybe concatenate strings. All that kind of basic stuff is stuff that almost every language you can do in any kind of language. And so when you want to start up with a new language, you just sort of have to go through the same kind of things that you learned in the previous language, but just learn the new syntax. And so we're just going to be going through those things in this tutorial today. So by way of review, where do I actually write my JavaScript in, say, an HTML page, right? Like what I showed you before, let's open up JSBin. And of course, you can write JavaScript in the console directly. You can write it right here. That's sort of like working with the command line. But conventionally, most of the time, we're writing it here between two script tags. And there's other places we can write it, but for now, this is where we generally write our JavaScript. Again, let's clear these errors and take it out of auto run mode. And let's start with declaring a variable. Okay, so var, I don't know, my name, and notice so you start with var, to short for variable, and then you declare the name of the variable. And JavaScript is a loosely typed language, so it doesn't require you to sort of declare what type of variable this is, whether it's a string or it's a number. When you assign a value to the variable, the JavaScript sort of figures it out behind the scenes what its type is. So this is a variable declaration right there. It doesn't do anything, but now we could assign a value to it. My name equals Luke, semicolon, and now we can output that to our log if we wanted, like this. So and run it, and you get Luke. So another thing we might want to do here is, of course, add a comment. So declaring a variable, and then assigning a value to it. And let's just verify that it's working. If I did a single slash, we'll probably get an error. Yes, we do. So you got to put those double slashes in to put in a comment. Just like CSS, you can also write them like so if you want. This should also work. There you go. Now if you want, you can actually write this all in one line. So instead of two separate lines, you can declare the variable and assign a value to it in one line, which is often the way we do this. So my name is Luke, like so. And this again will run again. And something to note also here, to create this, to call this a string, to designate this as a string, I've had to put quotes around it, right? So if I did this, JavaScript would think that this, I'm actually talking about a variable, and it'll say that it's undefined. So if we run it again, Luke is not defined. So you have to put quotes around it to say that you have an actual string that you're assigning to a variable. And it doesn't have to be double quotes. It can be single quotes, like so, just as long as you're consistent. So like this will work also. But don't try to use, but you have to be consistent. So you can't use a single quote and a double quote like this, because you also get an error. So that's a helpful little feature. What's nice about this is you can go Luke's like that, use a single quote in there, and it doesn't. It understands that you're not trying to terminate the string right here. So this still works. Run it again, you get Luke's. Now you can also concatenate strings. So we can do my name, say we'll just reassign, we'll make this a new variable, my name and age, again using camel case. And Luke's age is, okay, and then we're going to put plus 55. And JavaScript is smart enough to know that what you're trying to do here is concatenate. You're not actually trying to perform some sort of addition. And it should actually output this correctly. No, it doesn't like that. And the reason it doesn't like that is, look, it says reference error, my name is not defined right here, right? It's not defined because now the only declared variable is my name and age. So we have to put my name and age. And let's run it again. And now you get Luke's age is 55. So you can do simple concatenation with strings. Like I could do this instead of 55 here, I could do it, say 55, and it'll like this. It should anyway. Luke's age is 55. Of course, I could just run that together. It's kind of a contrived example. But you get the general idea how you can do concatenation. Of course, there's lots of edge cases, but for the purposes of this particular assignment, you probably won't encounter them. This will be good enough. So I think this video, actually, now it's 9 minutes long, is long enough that I'm going to cut it short and create another video that you should see next, where we do some simple control structures, running through conditionals and for loops, which you'll also need to know how to do for this assignment. Okay.